You ever have one of those days, or maybe weeks, where you feel like you're just stuck? Like you're running on a treadmill, you're putting in all this effort, but the scenery just never, ever changes? Well, today we're going to unpack a super simple but really powerful truth that explains exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how we can break that cycle.
And there it is, just 6 words. It's so simple, right? But I want you to think of this less like a piece of advice and more like a law of the universe. Seriously, like gravity. It's this perfect, unbreakable loop. If the input stays the same, the output has to stay the same. Every time. There are no exceptions to this rule. So that's the big question, isn't it? It sounds so obvious. Of course, if you want a different outcome, you have to do something different. We all get that. And yet, how often do we find ourselves running in the exact same circles, getting frustrated and wondering why nothing's different this time? What is that invisible force that just keeps us locked in place? Okay, so let's give this a name. This isn't just some clever little saying. It's a fundamental principle. Let's call it the law of inaction. And just like gravity, it's always there, constantly pulling us back toward what we already know, what feels predictable, and, let's be honest, what feels safe. In physics, the word for this is inertia. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. And that's us. That's our projects, our habits, our companies. We're that big boulder just sitting at the bottom of a hill. It takes a real conscious, deliberate push to get that thing moving. The default setting, the path of least resistance, is always, always to just stay put. All right, so if we're going to overcome that inertia, we first have to understand what's holding that boulder down in the first place. What are the things, the forces that actually create and reinforce the way things are right now? Let's take a look under the hood. It really boils down to these 4 big anchors. First, you've got that cozy, warm blanket we call the comfort zone. Then there's the big one, that paralyzing fear of what might happen if we actually try something new. You've also got systemic resistance. The processes, the rules, even the people around us who have an interest in keeping things exactly as they are. And finally, there's just the sheer brute force effort it takes to make that very first move. That first step always feels like the heaviest lift, doesn't it? So here's the trade-off we're making every single day, whether we realize it or not. On one side, you have the comfort zone. It feels safe, it's predictable, it's easy, and hey, that feels good. But look at the hidden price tag, stagnation. Because all the good stuff, real opportunity, real growth, your actual potential, it doesn't live in the comfort zone. It lives on the other side of uncertainty and challenge. And the key thing to get here is that choosing comfort isn't passive. It's an active decision to trade away your potential. Okay, so we know what's holding us in place. How in the world do we break free? Well, the good news is the answer isn't some massive, heroic effort. It's actually something much, much smaller. All you need is a single spark. You might remember this from science class. A catalyst is a tiny element that kicks off a huge chemical reaction. And in life, it's the exact same idea. It's one small, deliberate action that gets that huge boulder rolling. It's not about trying to move the entire mountain at once. It's just about dislodging that first tiny pebble. And the way to do it is almost ridiculously simple. First, forget about solving the whole problem. Just find one little thing that's causing friction. Second, shrink the solution. What is the absolute smallest, tiniest action you can take? Make it so easy that it feels kind of silly not to do it. And third, and this is the most important part, do it right now. Not later, not tomorrow, now. That is how you shatter inertia. But wait, there's this whole other side of the equation that we almost never talk about. We spend all our time worrying about the potential risks of taking action, but we completely forget to calculate the huge and, frankly, guaranteed cost of doing nothing at all. Think about it this way. The risk of trying something new is just a possibility. It might not work out, sure, but the cost of doing nothing, the opportunities you miss, the problems that get worse over time, that's not a risk. That's a guarantee. It's the price you are 100% going to pay for staying still, and I promise you it's always, always higher than the risk of trying. So here's the bottom line. Staying still is not the neutral option. You're not just hitting the pause button on life. You are actively choosing to accept the consequences of the way things are right now. Every single day you decide to do nothing, you are choosing to pay that price of inaction. So all of this, it brings us right here to this exact moment. We've talked about this simple phrase, about the forces of inertia, and about the power of a tiny spark. So the question is,
What now? What's your first move?
And here we are, right back where we started. But hopefully these words hit a little differently now. This isn't just a passive observation anymore, is it? It's a challenge. It's a personal mission statement. It's basically handing you the keys because it makes it crystal clear. If you want something in your life to be different, the change has to start with you.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. Not what you'll change tomorrow or next week when you get around to it. Today, right now, what is the one tiny, smallest possible action you can take to create that spark? Because, the universe already gave you the rule book. The rest is up to you.